Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Resonate, where we talk about ball jointed dolls. And today's episode will feature work in progress as well as some discussion about finances. So, as always, before we begin, Nova, it looks like you're ready. I'm not ready, and Vari is not ready. So, let's see, who did you bring today? It seems like you brought a couple of dolls.
Yeah, I have my mini fee Suni right here. I've had her for a while. She's probably one of my older dolls. Hopefully, I can get her to stay on the chair. Oh, she's on the Moline body. She's a really fun doll. Okay. And then I have my Wolf by Spirit Imprint, which has been like my huge work in progress lately.
Yeah, that cute little guy.
Got little paws.
Oh,
But those are
So,
the two I brought today.
for Suni, what's on her head? That looks like it reminds
Oh,
me of the Futurama brain slugs.
it pretty much is. It's a little tiny Eileen doll dragon. Let's see if I can get it on the video.
oh, you have one of those. Oh, he looks like a gum. Like,
Little Gumby. I
yeah.
got my
Yeah, it definitely looks
one
like a
of
gummy
those.
bear or something. They're
Oh,
really
they
cool.
actually so tiny. I thought they'd be a little bit bigger.
They stick on everyone's head really good that has a magnet.
Oh wow, that's really cool. Very cute. So Avari, are you ready?
Okay, yeah, I couldn't fix her eyes, so you can't see it anyways. But I brought my half dragon. I would say she's like somewhat of a queen, but she's not really because she's actually tiny.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's gonna be a queen to me if when I have enough money to get the
Oh,
other the mini free half dragon. She
yeah,
doesn't really
sure.
have a name though. I don't remember what I named her.
Can you hold her just to see how like big?
Oh yeah, you. I actually have my mini feed like just right here. If you want to see like a little, she's like here's my hand. She's like that
Oh
big.
wow,
Yeah,
so cute.
she's a real fee. Oh,
Ooh.
actually, damn. Now I don't remember. Yeah, she's like a hybrid. Like she's on the real fee body, but her head is like the smaller scale.
Oh wow.
Cool, very cool. So I have a naked doll yet again. So this is my
Okay.
lily cat, Ninon, and I was conditioning her wig after I made it. I made it a while ago, but then she was my model for the eyes that I got from Stamp Gincraft. So
Oh.
yeah, she has some clothes. I was working on a pattern for her, but I never actually finished it. So maybe during the Thanksgiving holiday, I'll get around to sewing it up. But I was making mock-ups from patterns. But yeah, and pardon pardon any coughing because the allergy thing has been awful here in Texas lately. So yeah, so cool dolls. And let's get started then. Let's see. So I think one thing that a lot of collectors who are new to the hobby or been in the hobby a long time and money are always an issue, right? Because compared to most other doll hobbies, BJDs tend to be pretty expensive. So, how were your experiences when you first saw it, and like, what did you have to do in order to get your first doll? And I guess piggybacking onto those questions, did you tell your family how much the dolls cost, or was this something like a secret? How did you guys manage and navigate that?
I'm definitely one of those that sorry, I'm definitely one of those that didn't tell them how much they cost. They know about my dolls after like 2 years of me collecting them. And then yeah, because I don't live with them, like I live by myself. Well, with my brothers, but he's in the different room. So he doesn't really know about these. They don't really know about these until I went back to visit my family last year and they were like, "Oh wow, what is that?" Well, what's going on there? Why is that Barbie so big? Like, wait, no. uh, I don't tell them the price though, because they definitely would think that why would you pay that much money for like a doll? They don't get that how like I guess precious they are to me. So I just don't bother doing it.
And I guess when you got your first doll, like, was that something that you had to save up for, or did you have some money on the side, or what did you do with
Uh,
that?
yeah, I definitely have to say I after I got my first part-time job, I saved for like almost half a year for secondhand dolls. It's not as bad now because my job got better, but still, it's still a lot of saving, like a lot of layaways that you have to do. Layaway will save you your collection a lot.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. What about you, Nova? Like when you got into the hobby, does your family know about it? Most likely, probably, because you have a husband.
Yeah, I explained to him why I wanted the doll, and he's very open-minded to art, so he was okay with it. But we bought it on layaway for sure, my very first one. And she took about 4 months to arrive after I bought her too, so I was like really nervous about it because I bought a new one from the company, and
Oh,
that was actually a Lutsuni. That was a really cool doll, but she was really huge.
Yeah,
But when
she's
I
pretty
first got her in
popular.
person, she was really striking, like way bigger than I even thought she'd be, and pretty impressive. But yeah, most of my dolls I do buy on layaway, so to just kind of reduce the shock factor of the price.
oh my god, yeah.
I would say that after you've bought a few, it's not so shocking, but definitely at first when you see that price, it's hard to understand why they would be so expensive.
Here are your little kitties.
Yeah.
Running around.
But yeah, I think that's a good point because um, especially if you're new and you haven't actually seen a doll in person, it's a lot of money to put up front for something that you have no point of reference for, right? And you might actually, oh, kitty. Sorry, I distracted.
Oh,
Who's this one?
Oh, this is Rishi,
That's
the
what I
little
thought.
brown girl
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
you're
she's
so
like,
cute.
pay attention. Okay, well, let me focus. But but it's a lot of money to put down for something you've never seen or have a point of reference for because it's hundreds of dollars, and a lot of people don't have that money just to like put on like essentially luxury collectibles. And for me, when I first got my doll, I believe it was a serendipity Charmin. I was thinking about what it was because that meme that was going around that Avari tagged us in. I'm pretty sure it was her, but I really can't remember because it's been such a long time and I would have never thought that I would forget. But here we are today. So, but she was about like $300 for a mini and she had like the interchangeable ears. But for me, like I had some money that I saved up from when you get birthday money, graduation money, all that stuff, and I had it, so I was able to buy my doll pretty much outright. But it was a result of like saving because I didn't have much money, and I did have a job when I was in college. It was through the federal work study program, so that provided money for like education plus like books and whatnot. But I was like paid like 5.15 an hour, and I was like, dang, like thinking how long you had to work in order to like save a doll. Which it was really more for like living expenses because honestly, thinking of how many hours I had to work to get one doll, it's depressing. But for me,
Yeah.
it was just saved up money as well too. So yeah, for sure. It's tough because I think the hobby attracts a lot of younger people, and younger people either can't work or they don't have very much money because they don't work, or you know their parents aren't supportive of it. They won't let them spend hundreds of dollars on a doll. So I think it's trickier if you tend to be a little bit younger. Um, do you have any advice for somebody who might be, high school and younger, really before you're an adult, if they want a doll? If your daughter approached you, Nova, or a friend for you, Avari, so how do you think you would handle it if you didn't like have dolls? Maybe that's not the best scenario because we all have dolls, you know?
Oh man, it'd be hard to imagine if I didn't actually own dolls, but I mean, I am very artistic, so I am open-minded to the art side of them. But I mean, at first I would be pretty shocked, but what I would say to new collectors is it's easy to see somebody that has quite a few dolls and not realize the time that it took to put into that collection. You probably would instantly want that many right away, but you got to pace yourself in this hobby. It's definitely a long-winded hobby.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of newbies, like myself included at the time, they usually get like sucked into the whole layaway scenes, especially like the newer generations. Like, cause when I started, layaway was already like a huge thing. So I got sucked into that, and then I got like a bunch of dolls on layaway. Like during my first year, I had about 5 or more dolls on layaway at the same time because I was like, oh my god, it's so cheap for each month. I can do this every month. I can afford this. And when the doll actually arrived, or like I would hit like a rough patch at work where I wouldn't get much like tips for like making coffee. It would be hard because I was like, oh, I can't afford to pay for all the layaway this month. So that whole system is really scary when you're like younger and you don't really have like a full-time job to actually support yourself. But like I feel like it's a trap. Layaway is more or less a trap because you like you use it and you're like, this is so good. Then after you finish one layaway, you're just like, oh, you know what? I can do it again. I'm gonna be looking for more to put on layaway.
Oh yeah, it kind of does have that cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is that layaway is always a good thing, but I think just as a rule of thumb, if you really don't have the money to make the purchase outright, like you really should not be making a layaway payment you
Yeah.
purchase, right? Because, you know, it's a set payment, but if your income is not stable where you can actually make the payment every month, you're going to always be it's going to be like credit, right? The trap of credit that
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
you're always going to be behind the ball and you will not be able to, meet all your payments and your layaways unless you take out credit, and you'll never get ahead of the interest rates on that. So ideally, like unless you can actually afford the doll and buy it to some degree outright, I don't think you should sign up for layaways because your circumstances can quickly change, and once you make the
Mhm.
layaway you can't take your money out, you lose it. So
Yeah, I actually learned that kind of in a hard way
mm,
because I didn't I couldn't finish that one layaway for I don't remember which doll it was, but I couldn't finish it. And because like um I got that girl from my job. So I was at my
oh
part-time job back then. So I was like, okay, I don't make money right now. I cannot afford to pay for the layaway. So I had to like sell my dolls. I didn't resort to taking out credits or like borrowing money, but I did have to sell like a doll I really loved.
mm.
I got her back though, so that's okay.
Yeah, but that's still it's still heart-wrenching, especially if it's a
Yeah,
doll that you could not easily get back.
yeah. It took me 2 years to
Yeah.
find her again.
Wow, who was
Two
it?
years. It was a doll zone Scorpio. You
Oh
know, like the
yeah.
scorpion body.
Mhm.
They cannot pose at all.
Yeah, they don't pose. Dolls,
They
tattoo
don't
dolls do not
pose.
pose. So, oh
But
wow,
she's
that's
just so
crazy.
cute.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people need to keep in mind, that don't go crazy with the layaways. It does make it more digestible. And for me,
Yeah.
I only buy dolls that I know I can pay for outright, just because, but I'm also older, so I have like more time established in a career, so to speak, because I wasn't making much money like 10 years ago, but now I'm, further along in my career. So there's a lot more financial stability there. But at the same time, I personally do layaways as well because there's no purpose there's no purpose in my eyes, depending on like the company, right? um to pay for something totally in advance when I don't get the product until 6 months later. I don't
Yeah, I
understand.
get that.
Yeah, because I don't want to say it's an interest-free loan, but to some degree it kind of is, because if I'm paying all in full, then I want my item shipped within a week or so, right? But if I'm paying for it, then I'll continue to make payments. If the doll is done earlier, then I'll just pay the rest of it off. But I just don't see the purpose in making such a large payment if I'm still going to be waiting at least half a year for it, and it would drive me crazy if I had to do that. So um, I'm just careful about like what layaways I do, but also if they do offer a layaway option, I opt for it, just because I don't get my product until half a
Yeah.
year. So I don't know. I just don't want to pay for it all up front. Like it's a huge hole in your wallet too.
I do that sometime, yeah, like especially for like Doll Chatal and Doll Zone. They take so long to actually do to make the dolls.
Mhm.
I waited I think the longest time I have waited for a doll from them was almost a year. Actually, it was a year. I
Wow.
waited a year for a USD for like
Ugh,
a
it's
small
horrible.
doll.
Yeah, it's a
I
long
think the
time.
longest I waited was about 9 months through Zoom one time for one of their monthly dolls, and
Mm,
that was quite a wait.
9 months.
yeah, that's. I feel like it's weird because back in the day, it was like 30 to 60 to 90 days depending on what company it was. And nowadays, like I feel like a lot of companies they still say they take 90 days, but like that's clearly not the case. We've mentioned like wait times for dolls, and I think like Doll Chateau and Doll Zone are probably the most notorious for how long they've taken to deliver dolls. Um, I normally I don't wait as long as other people, but I tend to order from Christina for my Doll Chateau or Asian company brands. I usually get them
Mm.
pretty quickly. Some of them are a little bit longer depending on the turnaround time. Like, well, I didn't get this one from Christina, but my mass cat doll Gladys, who I eventually did resell recently, um, she took like about 5 to 6 months, which her estimated time was like about like 3 months. But I feel like not the layaway, the turnaround times have increased significantly. And like you have Doll Chateau and Doll Zone, it's not uncommon for a year. But mine's my wait times are about like 7, 8 months, sometimes 6 months if I'm really lucky. But I order from Christina. And the quickest I had is probably Haru from Haru Casting, and my E minor, like his turnaround time is like flawless. Like whatever
Yeah.
he says, it actually does happen. It's a little bit longer if you get the face up, but I think it was like 90 days as promised, like without a doubt. And he delivered, but he also casts his dolls too. So he has complete, I think, control over that. But that was really nice because it wasn't like, oh, 90 days, just kidding, let's tack on 3 more months. But he actually did deliver it, and the doll is great, poses wonderfully. But those are my experiences. So what about you guys?
I always get my Fairyland dolls pretty quick, but I always buy them on layaway, so it's probably the wait time evens out, and then they just are done by the time I'm finished.
How long do you usually wait for the Fairyland dolls?
Not very long. I mean, usually by the time I finish my layaway, they're there within the month.
Okay, because I always I host splits for Fairyland every time they have a release. Not every time, but when they have a release, and usually my layaway is really long, so I'm not really sure when the doll actually arrived.
I
I
think
know
they usually
they.
arrive about like 4 months in to it.
Huh, that's
Good.
actually pretty fast
And
for a company
December?
that takes forever. That's like has so many orders. They
I heard
actually
they had a
really
slow
fast.
time getting their Sylvia release out lately, so I mean, their
Oh
mileage might
yeah,
vary.
I was gonna say that. I'm still waiting for mine. Like I got the event head from the mini fee, not Sylvia. Was she Sylvia?
I think it was released during the Sylvia release, the
Yeah.
special head.
The bunny one is a Luha or something, I think, if it's
Oh,
that
not
one.
Luha, the one before that.
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
one
oh
when they
gosh, I
released
can't
it with
remember her.
Sylvia.
There's
Yeah,
so
I
many.
don't remember either.
Did they even name the head? I can't remember.
I think they were just kind of like, oh, this is the summer 2020 event hat or something like that. There was no name.
The androgynous one, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, but it's actually taking forever for it to come.
Gives you some time to plan what to do with it, I guess. But yeah, this hobby definitely is a long-winded one. It does take a long time to do things and complete dolls and get them looking just right.
Are you guys like one of those people who plan ahead of what you want to do with your dolls and you just stick with it, or you just like see what happens when the
Oh,
doll
I usually
arrives?
plan ahead for sure.
I'm the other type. I'm like, even I feel like even if I plan ahead, it would not be what I want. When I see the doll, it'll be like a whole different story. I'm just like, all right, fine. I guess I'll scrape my character.
Oh
That's
yeah, they can
fine.
totally blow your plans too. Sometimes the doll just doesn't fit at all with the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to dolls, I tend to buy what I like. I don't have characters or any of that in mind. If I like the sculpt and I like how it looks, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get you. And then afterwards, I might get it, and then it's naked and I'll have hair. I'll have hair and eyes, but the face up might take a little bit longer just because I don't know who I want to go to. But I don't mind because if they're bare, then I can, of course, like, do patterns and sew and test fit without worrying about any body blushing chips. But for me, I don't have any characters, so it can be a little bit dangerous because if I like something, I'll just buy it. And like I know some people only buy if their dolls look good together, but I don't care. I'm like, they all look like trash together, so that's totally okay. Like I like them. They don't need to be photos together. I don't ever take photos of my dolls like in group photos, so it's not a concern. But I feel like that's a little bit more dangerous because you're
Oh
like,
yeah, that would put me at risk for impulse buying for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
for sure. I try not to be impulsive because I don't like reselling dolls. I just don't like selling in general because
Oh, it's tough.
it's tough. Yeah, and there's a lot of really bad buyers and also bad sellers out there. But I've had more good buyers, but I just don't. It just takes a lot of time, and you get jerked around a lot as a seller. I
Yeah.
try not to take it personally because it's a sale, but it's just like I don't want to spend time with somebody who's trying to like I don't even want to be my friend, but trying to use me as a resource, like trying to get more information. And I'm like, dude, you need to like look this up yourself. I can't help you at all. Like, I really don't know. I'm just looking to sell this doll. There's nothing more to it.
Or
So,
the person that'll ask for like 40 pictures and then be like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. Now I don't want it. Bye." And you're like,
yeah.
"What?"
I had somebody ask me for photos of a doll, and it was really exasperating because I took a ton of photos, like body shots, like she had like some tattoos on her, and I took tattoo photos just to show everything. It wasn't glamorous. It was underneath my like natural lamp, just to show any flaw, damage, because she was blushed, and I wanted the blushing to be clear. She's like, "Do you have any more photos?" I'm like, "What do you want?" Like, I literally posted headshots, body shots, front shots, everything. And she's like, "Well, I just want to see more full body shots." I'm like, "Okay," and that was a waste of time because you know I complained about this to you guys, but she was interested, but then she wanted like a 6 to 8 month layaway, and I was like, no, that's way too long for me. And I'm just like, I just want to sell the doll and move on with my life. So maybe 3 to 4 months, like that's the most I would want to do. And then she didn't want to commit, which is fine. But I think she expected me to hold it or something, which I don't ever do holds unless I have money because you know how that goes. And
Yeah.
the doll sold, and I think she was like mad. I don't know. I'm like, but you didn't seem serious. And I flat out told her no holds unless I get payment. And I was like, okay. I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm here to sell. I'm not here to like, as the reality TV shows go, I'm not here to make friends. I'm just
No,
kidding.
that's fair. I actually had make friend with people who sold dolls to me, but it's not because I wanted them to like give me discount or longer layaway. It just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I am doing a real long layaway with someone right now. It's been 3 months, and they have only paid like around $70 over like 300 $400 dolls. Like I'm okay with it as long as they still paying me and keeping me up to date, and they are aware that no matter what happens, if they decided not to get this doll anymore, they don't get their money back. Like that's just something you have to understand. Like I don't you don't get to mess around with me and then just take your money back at any time you want.
I don't
It's
know.
no.
I don't know if that. Are you comfortable still that layaway? Because I mean, they're like 400. They're
Eh.
$400 mark, and they only paid you 70. I don't think you're gonna get paid. Like I'm cynical. I'm
That's
cynical. I
like
hope you
really
get paid.
trickling it out.
I hope I get paid too. Sorry, Nova, what were you saying?
So that's kind of trickling it out too, just little
Yeah.
small payments like that. Wow.
I mean, it's because like the whole COVID thing, so I understand that people do get let go from their jobs,
Oh, that's
or
fair.
like they struggle to get payment through. So I'm okay with them sending little by little, but like just keep in mind that if you back out at any time, you don't get your money back, and I don't care what your reason is.
But on the other hand, like usually people are willing to extend layaways. Like if someone does have like, oh my god, a disaster happened, can I get an extension? I've had people in some cases extend layaways for me, and I've been really grateful for that. So there's
Mhm.
also the option of you can just talk to the person and work it out.
Yeah. I mean, they have been keeping in contact with me pretty often. Like, they talk to me a few times a month, explaining the situation. So I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm still kind of okay with it. I'm still like, all right, I understand your point. You can have like extension on your layaway. I don't mind, but try to just finish it as soon as possible because I want to clear out my space.
Yeah, getting more than one or two extensions is kind of hard to do because
Yeah.
then you just feel like you're getting lots of excuses.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think communication is always key when it comes to anything because like people are willing to like work with you, but if you just kind of go MIA, I mean, that's to me a sign of like bad faith. So I would be apprehensive about transactions like that. And I had a
Yeah.
transaction with somebody, it was a while ago. Um, they went MIA on me after paying like 3/4 of the layaway, but I kind of knew her from another hobby. So I felt really guilty about keeping her money. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. And those are tough situations because
Oh
I
yeah.
personally don't like keeping people's money. Even I would probably want half or something for the time wasted because I could have lost buyers, right? I mean, I lost buyers while I was dealing with that. But I do feel a source of guilt because for whatever reason, whether or not somebody, could come up with it. But I mean, she was understanding. She says, I know I'm late. I wasn't communicative. If you keep all the money, that's fine. But I'm like, it was like $300 or so out of a $400 doll. And I was like, I would feel crappy. So I still worked with her. She paid the rest and all was well in the end. But, it's just,
I
I,
actually have someone. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, no,
You
I mean,
finish.
I just didn't know. I don't think I would have done it any differently, but I don't blame anybody else who would be, stricter than me, right?
Yeah. No, that's fair. Like I'm actually one of those people who I will let you do long layaway, but if you do back out, I'm keeping your money. Like I don't feel bad about it because this is your decision. It's your choice to do this. So like
Yeah, if you're gonna buy a doll, you really do have to commit. You can't just, oh,
yeah,
I regret this. I'm out. Give me the money back.
yeah, you don't get any of that. I actually
At
had
that point, it's better
people.
just to sell it,
Yeah, I
like
know.
to buy it all the way and then just sell it on your own if you don't like it.
Mhm.
That's actually what I did for a few of my dolls. But like it's yeah, I kind of regret if I regret buying a doll, I'll be like, okay, I want to save it immediately right after I finish paying my layaway because why would I make it harder for the seller to do it?
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. Or even when you have like dolls that I've had some full sets, and someone's like, "I don't want the full set." I'm like, you know what? You can sell it yourself. I'm not breaking it up because it becomes infinitely harder for me to sell. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you really don't want it, then you can figure it out. Like, or I'll sell it to you without the full set at the same price. And I mean, I'm not breaking the set. And I remember I still have my Sweet Dreams Nana, and that one I need to figure out what I want to do with her because I'm like, I do want to sell her, but I kind of don't because she was one of my grails. But then I'm not really into Volk stalls, like realistically looking, where my collection is nowadays. But she's reached out to me when I was selling the doll, and there was one that was used, customized, not remotely same condition. Mine's still pristine and still everything is like bagged because I got her when I was kind of like losing interest in the hobby, but she was a grail doll of mine. So she wanted me to sell for the price that that person was listing, her doll for, like I think maybe like 500, and I paid like 975, which is what I was asking. And she's like, "Well, they're selling it for this price." I said, "Well, I'm not lowering my price. So if you like the price, then please go ahead and buy from that seller. It seems like it's a good fit. That's cool. Like it doesn't bother me. Like if you just want to bring to my attention." But I kind of knew what she was doing. She's like, "Okay, I'll go ahead and buy it right now." And I was like, "Okay, good luck. I hope you get." So she looks like a good seller. Go ahead. And of course, like the auction ended, nobody bid on it. So
Who
when
knows if you ever did buy it?
yeah, no one ever. I think someone did eventually, but I don't think it was her. But then I've seen her reach out to me on other platforms as well. And she's like, "Well, I already have hair and like shoes for her. I don't want any of the stuff." I'm like, "Okay, well, you can sell it. I'm not interested in breaking the set. It's already in the description. I'm not doing that. I know you're the same person who, did that thing and said, you know, someone else is selling for this price. I should match." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm not Amazon. I'm not Walmart. No." And the condition's not even the same. And I'm not desperate to sell. So I'm like, just buy from them. Like it doesn't hurt me. It's all good. You get a good deal. That's okay. but I don't know. There's weird stuff that happens in the hobby like that.
Yeah, there are definitely
Yeah.
some people out there who just kind of like think they can take advantage of people. Especially, I feel like some people in this hobby like take advantage of the newbie when they try to sell something. Like I actually was pressured into selling a doll that wasn't like I didn't want to split. They pressured me into splitting the head and the body because they only want the head.
Mm.
And they were like, yeah, like I'm older in the hobby, so like if you sell it like this, it would be more it would be more profitable for you. I'm like, no, it's not. What?
You're like, I can get rid of the body then, or like, all the value is in the head. Like, what in the world? Like, I don't, yeah, there's definitely a lot of predatory people there, and those people should be ashamed of themselves.
I know. Don't do that to the newbie, okay? That's mean.
Yeah, it's not good business practice, and like, it's a community, right? Any hobby, there's a community, and if you want to rip people off, then most likely people don't want you in the community. Like, I have friends who I want to make sure they don't get ripped off. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of like recently. I don't think you were part of that discussion, Nova, not deliberately, but there's somebody in the hobby who has been hobby hopping, and they have this doll, and they approached Avari trying to trade this doll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, trying to trade. I can't remember what it was, but it was one of the discontinued Atelier Momoni dolls, and trying to trade her that doll for what was the doll that you had?
uh, for my magic mirror,
Yeah, a
the
$700
Amy.
doll. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like it was just shady because she kept saying, number one, she approached Avari saying that this doll was a fair trade. It's worth $700, which her doll, I can't even imagine being worth $400 on a good day.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
and then of course I found the post on Facebook where she was asking people how much was her doll worth. And this is after she approached Avari saying that, it's a fair trade, you know.
I actually approached her first because I was like, okay, you know
Yeah.
what? If I trade this doll to her, maybe I can get some like money plus the doll from her to make the trade like even. But she was like, I asked her like after talking for a while, it seems like she didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, what do you price your doll at? Like, what do you think it's worth? She's like, it's worth $700. I'm like, there's no way.
Which is
There's no way
literally the
that.
price of a Vari's
Yeah.
doll. So we're like, yeah, okay. And I'm just gonna throw this out there. So we try not to name names and don't harass people, but we do want people to be aware of like anybody who might be questionable. And that person who approached the Vari was Maria LeBron. So, you know, exercise caution when you're dealing with people
Mm.
because she's had multiple user IDs. And then of course, like nothing bad happened, but it was just not a good faith transaction, right? You don't approach people and to some degree try to take advantage of, the fact that let's just say she was new and she didn't know.
Yeah, she told me like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go ask my friend because I don't know this doll, the magic mirror doll." She was like, "I'm going to go ask my friend because like I don't know if it's worth that much." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Good."
Yeah, that face you're like, yeah, that's the meme face. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, I guess like when we talked about like dolls and companies limiting, I guess discontinuing, but they limit their dolls, like I guess that recently happened with Fairyland. It seems to have caused some panic. And I think with like
Okay.
the
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the work in progress, the waiting and all that, like Doll Chateau and Doll Zone have had mass discontinuations, which I mean, business seems to be as usual, but like I guess with the Fairyland, that's kind of caused a ripple effect. So
Mhm.
you guys are the minifee slash Fairyland experts. So I shall defer to you on that. But what's going on there?
I think knows more than me.
Well, I mean, they're kind of keeping it secret right now. As far as I know, they haven't released a list of the heads that they're thinking about releasing. So it's definitely like order them now if you like one of the older ones, but they haven't said. They just said that they were going to limit and release some that were slowing them down or that weren't selling as much. So I'm really not sure what to expect.
I heard like on like one of the addicts posts, but I feel like there's 500 different stories floating out that they're redoing their molds. I don't know if you heard that one. That it's not.
Yeah, I
Yeah, they
I
did
have heard
redo a
that
lot of
one.
heads.
I don't know how they doing that though. Like, how do you like how do you fix a mold that do you just make them smaller? Do you like just resculpt them?
I'm sure they have
I
the
feel
master, like the
yeah,
master head, and then afterwards they cast
maybe.
a mold, and then yeah, like I'm guessing.
I know a lot of the older heads they had to go through and add like magnets and stuff for the horns. A lot of the older sculpts didn't have that sort of stuff, so that
Oh
was
yeah,
probably time
maybe
consuming.
they wanted to do that. I feel like if they don't release those head in the next like year, those doll heads is gonna be like more than $200 just because it's discontinued.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, scalpers are gonna take advantage.
But I think part of it too is that like I think it's part of like any company like product cycle, right? Is that the
Yeah.
stuff that doesn't really sell very often. I don't know. I feel like there's some sculpts that everybody would like to own just in general. But like if you never bought it, then were you ever going to get around to actually buying it? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
do you like the idea of the fact that you could always buy it, but like you never would actually buy it? Because given how often Fairyland, for example, does a lot of releases, even Doll Chateau, all those other companies, they have all these like timed releases that it's kind of like Mac makeup. Like they were doing all these special collections, but like, does anyone buy from the Pro line? Now people do.
No.
But you know, it's just like, were you ever actually going to buy this doll if it weren't for the fact that they were possibly talking about discontinuing it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I think when like when Fairyland was like, oh, we discontinuing these dolls, and I immediately jumped to it. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna buy. I gotta buy these hands because like it's never gonna come back again. But thinking like I took a step back and think the way Porpita thing, and I'm like, all right, you know what? This is crazy. I'm not doing this. Like I can't waste my money anymore on this.
I really do like their Wusu sculpt because that was like my first mini fee ever, so I hope that they
Oh,
don't discontinue that one. I do want to scoop that one up again in the future. And that's definitely an older sculpt.
isn't it
Definitely.
like huge?
Big head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the older big head sculpts. They've definitely sort of changed their aesthetic over the years too. It seems like their heads are shrinking a little to not
For
be so
sure.
bobble-headed, but
A
they're still
little.
Definitely. When it comes to like discontinued dolls and or limiting dolls, do you fall into the hype of buying what's possibly going to be discontinued, or are you going to be like, okay, I'm going to really commit now and make it happen? And I know Nova had mentioned that she would like to get another Wusu, but would you pull the trigger, or is the possible discontinuation like driving this decision?
oh, it's
Both?
definitely tempting because I don't see it a lot on the secondhand market, so it is a temptation, but I don't know if I will commit to that or not. But the discontinuation does definitely make it more tempting to want to get a doll that you probably wouldn't have.
I'm on the website right now. I'm just looking through the sculpt. I'm not gonna pull the trigger, but like I still just like to see them.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to give us a warning beforehand or if they're just going to be like, blam, discontinued.
I feel like they would, cause they told us, oh yeah, like we're gonna be discontinuing dolls, so they better give us like a list before they go and do that.
Let
Mhm.
us know.
Hey, you know what? This website does not work.
Yeah, it's kind of buggy, right? The Fairyland website.
I want to see if DDE has any.
Yeah. So I guess like with the discontinuations, like when Doll Chateau did it, I I don't want to say I really regret it. And I know we'll talk about like, do you have actual any like serious regrets? But like when they discontinued a bunch of their dolls, I was happy with what I had, like without a doubt. But I started realizing I collected a lot more heads because bodies I don't I like mixing and matching. So you might get this body this day, you might change bodies another day.
Mhm.
Um, I like to sew for a bunch of bodies when I actually get around to sewing things instead of like one thing and I'm like, oh, I'm sewing. But I think part of it is that I wish I got some of their more of their heads before they discontinued because there's some that I would like to have, but I'm not willing to pay some of the borderline outrageous prices that people are asking for them, right? I like it enough, but not to the point where I would want to pay, you know, that premium. And I think when I'm in the throes of like I'm bored and I want to buy something, I'm like, I would like to buy a head, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm like, it'd be nice to have, but not a must have.
I
Yeah.
always worry a little bit when I buy just a head because that's like secretly a commitment to have to get a body.
It's not. Take
Oh
my
my God.
word. I'm somebody who does not do that. But I know some people are like, I don't like having floating heads, right?
I don't mind floating head because I actually have a few right now, but I'm also like really into the whole like hybriding. How do you say that word?
Hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah. I'm really into doing that. So like I just keep like switching heads on different body, and I'm trying to see like which one works the best. So once in a while, I would just be posting like on my story, where it's just like nobody's asking for it, but here it is.
I mean, it
It'd
might
be
come
fun
into
for
the
sure.
yeah, it might come into the hands of somebody who actually wants to see what it looks like.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, for
Because I know
sure.
when I look up like how to if these like sorry hybrid if these hybrids work, and I couldn't find any, so like I'm like, oh, you know what, I want to do one myself. Just gonna just gonna like take that money and put it into like a hybriding, and I'll see what I get. That's why I'm selling a lot of dolls and parts, because like it sometimes it just doesn't work.
Oh yeah, a lot of the struggle is resin matching for sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had a doll that you regret not purchasing? And I know I touched upon it earlier where I said I honestly don't. Like there might be, oh, I would have really liked to own it, but I'm not, crying about it every day like at my collection. Have you, I mean, and that's fine if people have those feelings, like, but it's just for me, if I really like it, like then I know I will buy it. Like I will just buy it without any second thought. I will go ahead and make it work. But I feel like if I don't make a commitment like that, I'm waffling too much, then I didn't really want it to begin with. So I'm pretty happy with like, the dolls that I have, and rarely, if ever, I can't even think of a doll that I regret not getting. So I think I'm okay in that area. What about you guys?
I mean, I think that I'm okay in that area. I really waffled hard on Dollzone's dragon, the newer one, the long, like lanky one with the horns and stuff. I
Mhm.
was so tempted by that one, but I don't think I regret it because in the end there was a couple things that I decided I didn't like about it. But I was very, very tempted. I've been tempted by dolls, but I don't think I regret passing any of them up.
That's
Yeah,
good.
me neither. I don't like, I would regret at the time because I'd be like, oh, people are having these dolls, and I kind of feel bad that I don't have it, but I get over it in like 10 minutes. So I know I'm not like that into the doll. But one dolls I really want though is the Tiffany artwork,
Mm.
Sphinx cat.
Oh, that thing's really fun.
Oh, yeah, I don't think she's
It's so
making them
cool.
ever again, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, cause I'm on her website right now, and I don't think she doesn't say anything about it. I'm just
Wow.
Can you
she
share
does
the screen?
this.
Let me
Yeah,
see.
there's no price, no
Can you
no
share the screen
nothing.
of Ari?
Huh?
Can you share the screen?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
make you a host too. Yeah, sure, why not?
I can share without being a host. Don't worry.
I don't think you can. Can you? I gave you the host privileges. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you
that's a
see
really
it?
cool doll though. I love those. I've loved those for ages. Yeah, they're so pretty.
Yeah, like this is all there is on her website. If if you want to know the price, you have to email her, and I feel like that's one
You
of
have to
those
ask. You
things that
can't
just
afford.
tell you. Yeah.
You have to ask. You can't afford
Yeah.
it.
You already know. But yeah, it's just so pretty. I really
I
want one.
I think on the BJD, not addicts. I'm sorry, the BJD Discord. They had talked about that. I think the cat got
Mm.
recasted,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and I think that really devastated Tiffany, and I don't blame her at all. Like it's just
Yeah.
like, what can you do? But yeah, those are the body's gorgeous on the doll.
Yeah, I know. I actually came across this doll because I found the recast doll.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sad.
I was just kind of like Googling random stuff
Mhm,
on BGDs, and I found like a recast version of this, and I was like, whoa, I want to see the real stuff.
for sure.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it really is.
I think she has another. Oh, okay. think she has, yeah, she has another one, like the human ones.
Mhm.
Her dolls are really pretty. Yeah, there's no price. There's just no price.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you have to ask, you might not be able to afford it. I always get
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
that's why I haven't asked. I actually saw one on secondhand on Instagram, I think.
Mhm.
And I think she was selling it for only like 400. I'm not really sure. But I'm not in any position to buy any dolls.
Yeah, it's not unattainable. That's
Yeah.
not too bad. But yeah, whenever I see like prices or get the message, I feel like I can't afford it. Like that's just it might not be the case, but it certainly does feel like it.
Yeah, I know.
And those gray ones are really cool too.
The porcelain looking ones,
Mhm.
yeah. I didn't know they have like different heads.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
For sure, yeah.
And click. All right. It's just our faces again.
Yeah, it's our heads. Our heads. So okay, yeah, I think and I think people should be careful that they don't get caught up into like the fear of missing out because I did that with it's not a BJD, but I did it with like a Blythe purchase recently. And actually I've done it with a few Blythe purchases with stock dolls. And when I get them, I'm just like, whatever. It was just totally a hive mind mentality and I like whatever, and then I turned around and sold one of them. The other one I still hang on to because I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to trade her down the road. But yeah, like don't get caught up with the mentality that you have to have it because more often than not, it might be something that you're just buying in the moment versus something that you actually want. And then at the end of the day, can you afford it? All that stuff.
Yeah, like it's tricky though, especially for like new people coming into the hobby, and it's overwhelming because a lot of companies are going on the direction into the direction that like they just release it for like I guess like
Mm-hmm.
a month or
Yeah.
like a few months long, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So like newcomers, they usually get freaked out because they're like, oh god, this is so limited, I'm never gonna get it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Scary.
Yeah.
I seen with the Fairyland Claws release, a lot of people thought that the full set was the only time that they were going to release them, and they didn't know that it was going to move to their a la carte system. I think that's
Yeah.
how it's said. And I was just like, chill out, guys. It totally does go to the a la carte system after a while. But yeah, and some companies don't re-release. Zoom, I noticed they'll wait about 3 or 4 years and then they'll re-release a sculpt.
3 to 4 years, that's quite a long some
Long
time
way.
to wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, but still, at least they do re-release. It's not that bad.
yeah. And they usually do like different things when they release. They shake it up, like it's not gonna be a fox this time, it's gonna be a zombie, is what they did in the case of
uh
one doll. I was like, wow, that's a big change. But yeah, they shake it up for the newer releases, different fantasy parts and stuff.
I feel like that's good. Like, as long as the head sculpt the same, they can still say it's a re-release, but they just spice it up, so it doesn't get too boring.
Sorry, I'm like I didn't realize Haribo made sours. I've been eating these gummies that I've been buying. And I'm like, they're so good. I'm like, holy cow, I love sour gummies, but I don't like the Sour Patch texture. But I saw that they made the sour gummies. I've just been munching, and clearly I've been eating them throughout the entire show. I'm like, they're so delicious.
I can't deal with like sour stuff. I
I
actually
love it.
hate it. It's just like I don't know why, because I used to love sour stuff. Like I eat pineapple a lot.
I'm
Mm.
I
drinking Red
think
Bull, so I think I like sour.
yeah, like the sourness just doesn't do it for me now. It feels weird in my mouth.
I'm like the sourness, the tartness, and actually I was eating a pineapple one. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I was like munching in between the gummies. But okay, so I can think this question's come up a few times. I've seen it asked in addicts as well. But like, what do you do with a doll you haven't felt inspiration for in a long time? Do you immediately sell? Do you try to like save it by giving it new hair, new eyes, new face up? What do you guys do?
I sell them.
Pretty straightforward.
It's just straight up selling them. Like, because I feel like if I keep holding on to them, it would be harder to sell them later on. Because you get that like high school goggles or graduation goggles when you like want to sell a doll that you don't care about, and then like the moment someone buy them, or like the moment you put them on sale, they just you have like that feeling where it's just like, oh, but they have been with me for so long.
Start feeling sentimental.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one doll that's been in a box for like a year and I really like her. I should probably sell her, but I just haven't got around to doing anything with her. I think if I just actually did something with her, I would enjoy the doll, but so it's probably
Which
my
one
own
is it?
laziness. It's assume Finny Nancy. It's like the little USD fox that they have.
Oh.
And she's really cute. She's just like my only USD, so she's a little neglected, but I need to do something with her. She's been in a box a long time. Or sell her, finally.
Also, yeah. I mean,
But
I
yeah,
feel
it's
like,
hard when a doll starts kind of stagnating.
you
Mhm.
know, I feel that. Like, if you don't do anything with them, they're just gonna be sitting there gathering dust, anyways. At
Oh
least to
yeah.
me, anyway. So I try to sell them as soon as I can. As soon as I feel like, oh, we're not clicking. I'm sorry, you gotta go.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's how I am too. Like I try not to put more money in it because for me it's already a lost cause. If the moment I feel like I'm going to sell somebody, it's gone. Like I'm like you are out the door. Like I won't do anything more for you. I don't really want to keep you. I think it's really rare that a doll that I thought about selling actually stays. Like the moment I commit to selling, bye.
Hmm.
I
I
look
had
Yeah,
a
you
for
doll
gotta
that
cut
didn't
all
sell for a
ties.
really long time.
hmm yeah, and then, but then my biggest worry is do I keep them on my Instagram? Do I delete their photo? Do I archive them? That's what I'm like plagued with, not the actual selling part.
I archive them. I feel like archiving is good because you don't delete them. You can still go into your own like library to look at them.
For sure.
So it's not like, so they still there in a way.
I always keep
Definitely.
their older pictures on my gallery, like, oh yeah, I used to own this doll. That was cool, but I owned it for like a week, whatever.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
But should I say that I sold it? I don't know. I don't know. And let's see, what else do we have? I know it's like today's such a chill, like relaxed
Yeah,
episode.
it's a very low key day.
Low key episode. Yeah. And I guess like
Like
we
you're
had talked.
tired.
I know it's and my allergies are like whack. Like it's been a rough few days, and I need to go and get some prescription Allegra because not prescription, but the stuff behind the counter because it's been cold, it's been warm, it's like warm again. It was felt actually hot yesterday, but I think the cold front
Oh
might
yeah.
be through. It's horrible. But we touched about this earlier on. So I guess this is our last big talking point for today is that, when it comes to like large collections, how many dolls do you have? And maybe you might have to count or just do it off the top of your head. Recently, I believe, was it, I know, I think was it full time? Let me check. Did I say her name correctly or his name, their name? They joined our Discord and we were talking to them, but they had asked how many dolls do I have, and I had to like sit there and count, and they didn't include the dolls that I had heads in a box. So when people see your collections, do they think, "Oh my God, that's a lot of money"? Any words of comfort? And I know we talked about it, but a lot of it doesn't happen overnight. That's the first point, right?
Yeah, like so I was sorry, I look weird because I was counting them. I was like just trying to remember how many I have. That's not in the box. Um, People do get kind of weird about my dolls, so I keep them in just like a dark closet. I
What do you
don't
mean
show them
weird?
often. Like they would be like, "Holy shit, you have so many dolls." I'm like,
Really?
"Well, yeah, I collect them. That's what you do when you collect." But okay, I don't tell them the price, so they wouldn't be like, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of money." They're just like, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of dolls."
Mhm.
And I think I have around 20, not counting the ones I'm selling. I should sell some of them. Feel like that's way too much.
Oh, it does feel like too much. That's about how many I have too of the MSD size, and that's not counting like if I counted the pet dolls, I don't know, it'd probably be like a little more, so I'm not gonna admit to that. But yeah, it's like around 20 range. And it does feel like a lot, but then it's always easy to find new cool dolls that you want to add to the collection. It's hard
Yeah.
to resist. just having a
Definitely.
couple dolls. Like I definitely couldn't be a collector that had only like 2 or 3. I don't know how some of those people do that.
I'm kind
Like if
of
I
you're
like
starting
know.
out, that's
jealous.
cool, but
I'm jealous that people like that exist because I want to be
right?
them, but I can't.
Imagine that kind of restraint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Like I to live like without the whole self like impulsive buys. How does
Mm.
that work? Because like I've been most of my dolls are impulse buy, but I end up liking them anyway, so they stay. But I don't understand how people can just like some. I know some account I follow, they just have one of two dolls. Kind of jealous of that because all their feet looks really nice and pretty, and it's just those dolls. I'm like, wow, that's really
They're like super well
concentrated.
taken care of.
Yeah, and there my daughter just like naked, no eyes, no hair.
The bald crew.
Yep.
Not too bad. I do that. It's cool. It can be one of me, one of us, one of
Yeah.
us.
Nicole
Oh,
work in progress.
right. Yeah. So it was Fulton. I think I said their name correctly. Like I was like, I think it was FOL, but they had asked me how many dolls I had, and I have about like 14 that I can count in the case. There might be like more if I look at just heads, but 14 that I can at least immediately count. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's a
It's a long
process.
haul.
A process. Yeah, it's a process.
I mean, I
And
think about an average of how many I buy a year would be about 2 to
mm,
3 dolls per
Yeah,
year.
same.
yeah, that would make sense. And part of it is don't feel like just because somebody has a large collection, chances are they've been in the hobby a long time. I've been in the hobby since like 2003, on and off early, not early on off towards the mid range of the hobby, like probably in year like 10 for me. It was like I was in and out of it, but it's been a long time. And I think Nova, you've been in it for quite a while as well.
Oh yeah, about 10 years now myself.
Mhm. And then
And I've
Var,
taken short breaks, but it's cool because the dolls don't mind ever.
mhm.
Yeah.
And Avari, like how long was like 5 years for you?
No, actually, almost. Yeah, almost 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's still quite a bit of time, like in terms of like figuring out what you like, acquiring
Yeah.
what you actually want. Because I know we've talked in previous episodes, like your collection early on. Maybe not Nova. I feel like Nova's been the most consistent, but for me, I feel like I've
Yeah.
gone one way, like with my Volks slash well, it's custom house slash Lutz style dolls to like the doll chateau and the fantasy stuff. So
Yeah, we're just flinging all the way. It's just like go
yeah, it's
from
like one
one side
to
to
the
the
other.
other.
I did
Pretty
have
much.
one point in my hobby and collecting and stuff where I totally changed styles and decided I didn't want to do a certain thing a certain way and sold all those dolls and went a different
So
direction.
what did you do early on? Because I always thought you were like more on the
Always been
yeah,
into
the kind of like a mini
mini.
Well,
fay
when I
like.
Yeah.
first got into the hobby, I collected SDs. I had about 4 of them.
Oh,
Oh wow.
I didn't
So
know
I didn't
that.
have SDs at first, and then I started getting the smaller ones, and I was like, well, I handle them more. And so
Mhm.
that was the deciding factor for me is I liked carrying them around and handling them more. The
Yeah,
larger ones I was almost afraid to touch.
I feel like SD is like way too big for me too. Cause I used to have a Feeble 65, and when she stand up, she's like almost half my size.
I
And
love
I'm
the
like,
presence that they have, though. They bring a lot of presence to the room, and that's really cool. But
yeah.
yeah, they're just really huge.
I feel like if I want the big dolls, I would be like get one of those like 120 centimeter dolls.
Oh wow, yeah,
Like
for real. Huh?
yeah, like the real child doll, real childlike doll, like the really tall one.
Like the
I know
Dalmor
Fafita doesn't
Trinities.
like it.
I number one, they're big and expensive and heavy. Like for
They
me, I'm
are.
just like no thanks. And I've seen people have them. I mean, if you like them, that's great. But for me, I'm just like I also don't like my dolls to look like babies.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I
like
like
Oh
a
yeah,
kid or something.
yeah.
like not
That hits
not the
the
baby
uncanny
types.
valley.
Yeah,
What was that?
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
like the baby types, but I want the Dalmor ones, like the model looking ones. I don't remember
It's not the Trinity, is it?
Trinity. Trinity, yeah, I think they
I don't
are. They're not like baby like. They like adult like. They're just really
childlike.
short.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like they're
they're
childlike.
like adult like child size,
I
which is
guess.
kind of weird.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
think
that's one of those dolls someone would think is haunted.
Yeah, that's
It's like the
exactly what
size
I
of a
was
kid.
going for.
Yeah, like I think there's that company begins with the H, like Himmel. Do you know, I don't know if you guys seen the dolls, but they tend to be like of like young children, but they're like big. They're like 2 to 3 feet, and I'm like, "What?"
I think I know what you're talking about. It's a
Yeah.
Chinese company, right?
No. It's like I think a European company. Let me
Oh,
see.
really? Please share your screen. Look it up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Okay, I really just want those dolls so I can scare people off.
I mean, I guess
That's totally a new rabbit
I
hole of
guess you could do
collecting
that.
too, for sure.
But that's like way too much money to just scare people off, though.
Let me see. Oh, is it Hummel? I don't know. Let me check. Because I know some blind people collect them. Like they tend to be more traditional, like doll collectors, 2 to 3 feet. Dolls.
Holy
Himmel?
shit.
Is it Himmel? I might have to find it and then show you guys later because
Yeah.
I don't really know. I've seen them and I don't like them. I just know that. Yeah, I'll have to find it and I can terrify you guys next time.
Guys, if you Google like human size BJD,
Mhm.
you get some like really tall dolls.
I think you probably get some
I
of
didn't know
those
that.
real dolls or something, right?
Yeah. Not even that. They actually have like joints and everything.
Mhm.
And this one doll I'm looking at is apparently a D store.
Mhm.
D store BJD. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, like they 177 meter tall, centimeter tall.
Wow.
That's taller than me.
Yeah, that's huge. That's terrifying.
That's actually huge.
Semi terrifying. If you like it, that's all cool. But I wouldn't want one in my house. I mean, sometimes I feel like even the SDs are too big that I can't imagine having like
Yeah.
something my size, if not bigger, occupying space.
At that point, it would feel like a mannequin or something.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
does. Okay, the name is Distoric.
No.
Let me see if it's still.
Oh, D-Stork. I've heard of that company before.
I think they like. Oh, you can't really find the website. Oh, 5'8". Their dolls are 5'8".
That's big.
That's huge.
Some people like the bigger size dolls. I mean, I've seen people that want like the biggest of the big SDs and stuff, and that's pretty cool. I mean, teach
Yeah,
their
for
own.
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely not
To
my
each
style.
their own, yeah. And I think some people like the availability of like clothes that you can just do
Oh my god, yeah.
minor alterations versus like when you buy like mini or even tiny or any like more traditional like I guess BJD size, like the clothing can be pretty expensive, whereas you can just buy something off the rack and throw it on your doll. Totally get that.
Oh, I had a serious struggle with SDs too, because there's like 3 or 4 different ranges within that size
Mhm.
for clothing. So I would always buy like the wrong size shoes or clothes and stuff. That
Mhm.
was super frustrating when I was really new to the hobby.
Mhm.
Oh
So I think that
god.
was part of the reason I did switch from SDs.
Mhm.
MSA is easier to just find clothes for them.
Cool. So I think that's pretty much it for episode 4. Do you guys have anything else to add or anything else you'd like to say before we close it for this week?
Join our Discord.
Yeah, join our Discord forever. Join our
Join
Discord.
our Discord. Is quite blah. It's quite quiet in there. I don't know why I say that. It's kind of quiet in there, so like get in there, rumble it up, talk to us.
For sure. And we have like some listeners like Jen and Fulton who have joined us. So it's been nice. It's been nice having more people, and Skade makes guest appearance there too. So, hopefully we can have more people to talk with us about dollies there. And if you have any other suggestions for future episodes, please tell us. And last but not least, next week we have a special guest, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
will tell you who it is when you tune in next time. We won't
Yes.
spoil it, but I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So we have Nova to thank for arranging that for us, but we're excited to have our first guest, and we look forward to having more guests in the future as well. So thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.